Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight to our virtual open door reading. This is our last open door reading of the year. My name is Alex, and I am the Building and Events Manager at the Poetry Foundation. I am a cisgender white man with blonde hair and black glasses. Tonight I'm wearing a black turtleneck sweatshirt that has open sides, and I'm sitting in front of a few pieces of wooden furniture that have books on them, as well as a portrait of Billie Holiday right behind me. Before we begin, we want to recognize that the Poetry Foundation building is situated on the occupied original homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, and Odawa nations. Indigenous people continue to live here today, and Chicago is home to one of the largest urban Indigenous communities in the United States.
Hi, my name is Noah, and I am the event assistant at the Poetry Foundation. I use they, them pronouns, and by way of visual description, I am a white person with lavender hair, and I'm wearing a pink blazer tonight. Today's event is being captioned by Stacy from ACS. To access live captions, please click the CC icon at the bottom of your Zoom window. This is a relaxed space. Feel free to do whatever you need for your body and mind to be more comfortable. If that means eating a snack, hydrating, lying down, or stepping out to take a break, that's fine. Take a second now to make yourself 10% more comfortable.
Thank you, Noah. And now I'd like to introduce tonight's first reader, Beth McDermott. Beth McDermott is a writer in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. Her chapbook, How to Leave a Farmhouse, was published by Pork Belly Press. Recent poetry reviews and criticism appear in Kenyon Review Online, Tupelo Quarterly, and The Trumpeter. Essays and reviews about art and ecology can be found in After the Art, American Book Review, the Spoon River Poetry Review blog, and Kudzu House Quarterly, where she was also poetry editor. She is currently an associate editor with Rhino and working on a manuscript of prose poetry titled If You Say So. Beth holds degrees from Hope College, Purdue University, and the University of Illinois at Chicago. She teaches writing and literature courses at the University of St. Francis in Joliet, Illinois, where she's an assistant professor of English and coordinator of the St. Francis Writers Conference, for which she received an Illinois Speaks microgrant in 2017. And now I would like to welcome Beth to take it away.
Thank you, Alex, Noah, and the Poetry Foundation for the opportunity to read for the Open Door series with Eva, Maya, and Katharine. My name is Beth, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm a white cisgender woman with light brown hair, and I'm wearing a lavender colored sweater in front of a gray wall. Equinox. A boy collapses on the lawn, rolls over, grows damp, can gauge clouds above him, draws finger shapes. The mole slowly backs out of its tunnel. The boy pierces the air like a dorsal fin. Bring me the trowel, I hear myself speak. Instead, his hands cup the yellow confetti that fell with the first hard rain. Poise and counterpoise, the forsythia is green. The lowest hanging branch took root, second windpipe, ripe for a cutting. Or so my mother says. Strip Mall Bakery. We're all standing on black and white checkered vinyl over land altered by glaciers. In the first stages, so-called brake rollers crack the kernel open. The children smudge a case of assorted donuts. I spent my childhood looking at braided spikelets in rapid succession. Is it sufficient to grieve for an image, not the thing itself? A field of corn was impenetrable, left my own body. The surveyor's perspective. Think map as you inspect what counts or doesn't count for part of the historical fabric. Just call the chicken house structure and move on. What's intact, you've learned, is the upside of ruinous. What's ruinous is documented before it disappears. What disappears, this is what it means to go out with guns blazing as someone else is taking the bull by the horns. What you mean to say is that farmland is perforated by surveyor stakes. You artfully flag the expandable holes, pools in the yards of new tract houses, which dwarf the limestone farmhouse. Or so the caption will one day tell us. At its root, caption is still attempting to seize. Here is the window of the image. Here's the porch's overhang. Here are the shutters, busted washboard ribs. Think music by the handle of a spoon. This next poem has an epigraph from a newsletter for a food co-op. The mushroom farmer. A new housing development threatens to budge her another time for the last time. Goodness, greenness, farm spotlight. I read about her digging her heels in soil that tended to ball up on the plow. The feature story is her chance to self-promote, even though nothing will save her from eminent domain, including her revulsion for starter spawn. Yet her perspective is so specialized, the public can't translate it. Who cares that she uses manure, which stems from maneuver? Here she is among the fruiting bodies, shining her lamp over racks of shiitake. Their spores require such sterility, a room like a cave, with the ground swept clean. Matryoshka. This doll, painted to resemble a peasant woman, has blue eyes, duodot pink cheeks, and is wearing trumpet bell-shaped poppies instead of clothing. I read about the morphology of the red poppy, a process so abrupt that a calyx seems to lose its identity at once, as it has here in the outermost doll. Only the leaves can be called the calyx. But we can go back. The buds of its breasts are not so easily lost. Designed to nest, the Matryoshka doll splits top from bottom to reveal another figure from the same stripped block of balsa. The eye color goes, the lower lashes disperse like shavings. Poppies fold into themselves. How small can they get? The innermost doll is like the calyx, not the green leafy top, but the whole strawberry. Degas, the dance class, 1874. It's the ballet master's elbow we see mirrored in the foremost dancer's casual second position, in the bleachers where the waiting girls are as sharp-edged as the mirror frame, poster frame, door frame, or crook of two-wall shell-colored crown molding. Unwittingly, these sisters share their evergreen tree shape with the cityscape. But the student who executes an arabesque or attitude, her leg is hidden under tulle, knows the suggestion of épaulement is like an antique find or swath of gilt. Take, she says, your cue. From these walls brushed a bluish eau de Nil. This is how to soften the bones of the thumb or the whole hand, inclined to curl like the roses whirl, the one near the base of the music score stand. Disappearing act after Vermeer's Officer and Laughing Girl. Because the real subject of the painting is light, The shred of his profile foils her face, too engaged in what he's saying about light not being a metaphor for time. What if she asked, where is the density located, but couldn't respond, upper left shoulder into palm? Who can see without zooming in that the real quality of her hands is not the light falling there, but the palms daubed with it, as if reciprocity is not a thing. The same gold cascades down her sleeves. Are there trees outside? You can't work around him. Girls just want to have fun. Picture me standing outside of my professor's offices with plastic wrapped plates of cookies. In my mind, this was not bribery. It's something my mother would have said couldn't hurt, unlike everything I don't know and can't predict. Think of all the gas money it will cost me to get to Chicago. Then there's parking, Prosecco, the obligatory compliment or two. What if I mistake a poisonous berry for an edible one? What if I build those contacts, then make excuses to be alone among them with family money? What if American poetry threatens my monogamy? I always paid for my own lunch of grilled cheese, pretzels, and hummus. What if this image of me charting new territory feels like your turf long ago set in stone? The Ovenbird. I'm neither married nor religious, but own an image of Audrey Hepburn with a cat wrapped around her neck and a cigarette holder in her mouth. Could I not see my own disaster? Open glass bowls directed most of the light upward, allowing it to spread sideways and down. It started after the gas was turned on. There was a valve, step stool, pendant, and wall sconce. Love isn't extremely efficient at producing light because of the large surface area of chemicals. I'd like to say a few words of introduction about Eva Bruno's poems. In poems about faith and community in the post-natural world, Eva Bruno explores a new landscape, one that features the bones of buildings for the dog, as opposed to the pastoral tropes of harp and lyre. What is our collective intention, she asks, in poems that critique rampant consumerism and argue instead for sustaining one another, quote, doing what it takes to keep mouths and souls fed with a spirit of versatility, end quote. With influences that range from William Wordsworth to Adrienne Rich, Bruno's poems continue to astound me due to their beautiful images, long rhythmic lines, and engagement with the romantic literary tradition. And I'm honored to read with Eva here tonight.
Wow. Thank you so much, Beth. Round of applause again. Our next reader, as we just heard that beautiful introduction, is Eva Bruno. Here's a formal bio. Eva Bruno is a senior studying English and education at the University of St. Francis. Bruno's poetry was recognized in the 17th annual Senior Rose Marie Cervillo Poetry Contest, receiving second place overall. She was also honored as a Google Cloud Academic All-American in 2019 for excelling both in the classroom and on the University of St. Francis track and field team. Although Bruno currently resides in the Joliet area, she is originally from rural Seneca, Illinois, and plans to return there to teach following her graduation in 2021. Please welcome to the stage, Eva Bruno.
Thank you, Noah. My name, as Noah said, is Eva Bruno. I am a white cisgender woman. I'm wearing a gold sweater turtleneck. I have wavy shoulder length brown hair. I'm seated in front of kind of a turquoise wall. There's a little bookshelf behind me. And now I'm going to start my poems. My first poem is titled Museum of Disaster. The tornado curated artifacts, dispersed them where it pleased, showed us the tattered bits and pieces of others' lives. The child's handwriting, so frail and pure, survived the whipping winds and ripping rotation. As strong as it was, it couldn't destroy the smallest details. But the fire consumes all, takes in the good and the bad, eats the smallest things completely, leaves only the bones of the buildings for the dog. Ravages what we deem most important, renders the money we have useless. Thus, the tooth fairy outsmarted the gale, while the checkbook is charred. Lines on Christmas. Joy to the world that is broken, bleeding, hurting from the weight of the human race. Even if the Lord has come, the earth is in no shape to receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, by wrapping our worries in shiny paper, by bagging our burdens and tying them up with bows, by disguising our distresses with gifts that can be torn open, disregarded, and eventually buried, by burning our troubles up and away through tailpipes on the highway, through smokestacks in the sky, straight up to heaven, which surely we'll sing, along with nature, songs of mourning, lament, for the wounds that have been inflicted. For all the backs broken to build pipe dreams, for all the wants that gouged others' needs, for the rivers run bloody, for undrinkable streams, for the take without giving, for the creatures, the trees. There moans a smog-muffled chorus that pleads for man to see what he has done to destroy the perfect balance that the Father above has bestowed on the world. A perfect balance, which he could not have intended be disrupted in celebration of his perfect baby. Anno Domini 2020. Stars don't align, that's just my eyes dictating fate to ease my mind. What a fool I am to organize my future based upon the skies. No wonder I can hypnotize, I synthesize and believe my lies. Piece thoughts together, like Frankenstein. It's about the climb before the prize. No grind? Well then, no finish line. The pain's the high, no high and dry, no college try. For me now, there's just do or die. Fee, foe, fi, here comes the giant. Will I freeze or will I rise to the occasion? For it's no paradise before my eyes. The world's a tangled mess of crime, where cities burn like wildfires, and wildfires spiral higher, till God inhales this human mire. The days are numbered, the days are dire. Gone are the days of harp and lyre, of sheep and shepherd, of rest when tired, of milk and honey, of meek and mild. There's only seek and pray that ye shall find. Iris. We named her Iris for the way that she blooms in the twilight of spring's dawn into summer. For the way that she appeared to be but a blob in dormancy, colorless, shapeless, yet very much alive in the darkness of the rich uterine soil. And for the way that she stabbed her entry through the membrane separating her fertile cave and the bright open air, pressing through with pains as sharp as the bladed leaves of her namesake, yet as tender and fragile as the stems that steady the crepe blossoms like little heads on spindly necks, deep purple with the first cries for breath, lavender like the blanket that received her into a room with periwinkle walls and a creamy yellow floor, over which the wheels of carts and feet of nurses rushed in and out, inhaled and exhaled rapidly, irregularly, their pace matching that of her tiny lungs and heart for what seemed like hours, but was really only minutes before the room became silent and still. So that the world does not forget her, we named her Iris, after the blossoms that mark her ground and resurface each year. This next poem has an epigraph from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Consubstantial with the Father and the Son, the Spirit is inseparable from them, in both the inner life of the Trinity and his gift of love for the world. Trinity. God is one, God is three, God is called the Trinity. Now, this is fine, but I believe that I have room for three in me. That for some child I could be both matri and patriarchy, planting a different family tree with branches in the community, my branch connecting to another's leaves, grafting with authority mother and father, seamlessly united in self-sufficiency. Wearing a skirt or the pants to earn and make the bread, nurturing and providing equally, doing what it takes to keep mouths and souls fed with the spirit of versatility, patching a hole in the wall and then patching a skinned knee, with firm pat on the shoulder and a kiss on the cheek. Mother Earth, Father Time, and misfit peace adopted, all internally. For living singly should not mean that I can't start a family. Love your mother. Not so long ago, flour and water. You shouldn't eat anything unfamiliar to your grandmother. The difference between the diversity of a rainforest and a tree farm. The difference between a garden tomato and one purchased in a grocery. Find good water, pure water from a well. The counter is going to be the place where your mother lives. Stir with a wooden spoon, Monday through Friday, flour and water. On the seventh day, Saturday, your mother will be ready. Spoon your mother into a mixing bowl, shellacked over time with layers of flour. Bubbles, pleasantly sour like stout beer. Add salt, honey, flour, stir. You know you need it, you just don't need it. Grandmother kneaded her bread for something like 20 minutes. Make round, rustic loaves, gently stretch the surface, slash with the sharp knife. Cast iron bakes bread much like earthen ovens did. Risen, all day, a slow, natural rise. Moist, marvelous crumb, the real deal, bursting with life and flavor, thin but crisp, slightly tough. I want hearty, I want real. Be fearless, you have time. Your mother is perfectly capable of outliving you. Our work. In flight, she carries a self-sufficient family. It's women's work. These are highly specialized women, assigned only one job. Working gals who build, make hexagon angles so true, and then there are the morticians breaking out the dead. Attendants keep the queen warm or cool, fed and bathed. They even caress her. Chosen like the Dalai Lama, the mother of not hundreds but of millions. Others feed and care for the children she will never touch. She is in perpetual labor, and life is short. A hive without a queen will die in this female-dominated world. I just like to take a moment now to thank, first of all, Dr. McDermott for choosing to share this opportunity with me when she found out about it back in April. I've had her as a professor for I think all but 2 or 3 semesters for the past 4 years. So she's been inspiring me as a poet and a writer since the start. I've always enjoyed creative writing, but I never felt comfortable sharing what I wrote until I took one of her workshopping classes. And even then, I would have never expected to be at a public event reading my work out loud. But with her guidance through the whole process of this experience, I felt really prepared. And a special thanks also to the Poetry Foundation, especially Alex and Noah, for persevering through these uncertain times and still trying to put on a great event despite the circumstances. I've really enjoyed participating, and I plan to attend as an audience member for future readings. And best of luck to Maya and Katharine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our third reader, Maya Marshall. Maya Marshall, a writer and editor, is co-founder of underbellymag.com, the journal on the practical magic of poetic revision. Marshall is a fall 2020 artist in residence at Northwestern University and holds fellowships from MacDowell, Vermont Studio Center, Callaloo, The Watering Hole, Community of Writers, and Cave Canem. She is the author of Secondhand, Dancing Girl Press from 2016. Her writing also appears in Best New Poets 2019, Muzzle Magazine, Rhino, Potomac Review, Blackbird, and elsewhere. She lives in Chicago, where she works as a manuscript editor for Haymarket Books, and her first full-length book is forthcoming from Haymarket as well. Maya, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm going to read some poems. The lovers in the photograph. The men nestle, one inched into the cleft of his love's thighs. They wait under the eye of the sun and the bull's eye of the camera's lens as the white witness documents Black love on a late spring day in Chesapeake, Virginia. One, eyes closed, lips resting against his pillow's cheekbone. The other, eyes open, stares soft-browed, as if he's just opened his eyes. Two moles make a base clef of the curve of his left eye, or a colon, open exposure in this one frame. Loose clothes betray a slim collarbone, a meaty bicep, two modest black bellies, sun-coppered and hairy, the slightest catch in a fold, a clasp on an elbow. The lovers, caught, lean into each other, away from the leaves, in front of the building, hold their spot on the black top of the complex's parking lot, locked, as if in bronze. I have never seen a monument like this. Do-rag and chin-strap mustache, brawn-armed bear with a fresh, tight fade. I've lived at the corner of Confederate and Lincoln, spat on the stone feet of a gynecological barbarian, seen equestrians erected high above men's heads, but never yet two sleek, wide noses, or one man's neck tilted in supplication, mouth slit open to let the air dart in, hands wound lightly around a waist and lower back, knuckles alit on a broad dockered thigh. Two men, spun like blossoming vines, shining in the splendor of two like soldiers in love. And light, not in shadow. But here, the woman's eye has arrested our fellows in dewy day, without labored sweat or defiant glances. Not off guard or posed, but seeming free and seeming safe in the baleen of each other's embrace. I'm writing this book. I've written this book about trying to have babies or choosing not to. And this is one of those poems. To deliver all stillborn safely. I can't afford to have all my wisdom teeth extracted at once, but I need to have the rot removed. When I consider pregnancy, I think of American rot. Not the babies, but the people cop murdered in the streets, and the government saving rapist fruit to spite the women bearing it. It stinks of God and Mary. Don't you know he may enter any vessel and raise flesh or fire? Maybe it's passé to be furious with God, but fury is part and parcel of love. These governments would force the second coming as if God couldn't raise another son from clay. Down the maternity halls, Black women are dying. In my nightmare, twin Black boys erupt from my pelvis through bone, flesh, and pubic hair, form igneous rock when they hit the air. This must be what I think of my unclean womanhood. This uterus, a spout, the pressure so great I can't completely close my mouth. I'm reading 3 poems that are sort of very finished. Very finished. I don't know if anyone ever finishes a poem. And then this one, which is in process. Motherhood at the artist lunch table, a conversation, a collage. I'd be a wet nurse. I had postpartum until the baby smiled. It was 6 months. I get the sense that motherhood is an immediate erasure. How's the baby? Elle says we had to move out of the co-op because of the rats. We had built a community in this old house. We learned a lot, wiring, plumbing, but when we had to move because of the infestation. Motherhood is a 2-sided spoon, a bird feeder, a toddler in a t-shirt. 2 say marriage for babies is a thing. 2 say the default was an eventuality. Kyoko says, I never wanted them. 20s, guilt, 30s, pressure, 40s, divorce, and cats. Pregnancy makes you vulnerable. Vulnerable. I would love. Selfishly seeking complete control or exit entirely. Some people parent as corrective action, as in, I would never do what my parents have done to me. Just look what they have done. Look what they have done. Some people want to see themselves recreated. A woman at the table wants legacy. Being non-mother, I cannot fully understand my own. Wet mouth on a nipple. My ears search for sound when it snows, hard milk on a duct. The river running under ice, nothing of air ripped by the falling of what the foxes hear as the flakes accumulate. Motherhood is winter. Non-motherhood is not watching age accumulate on a body that I made. Time runs out behind me. I die and end and leave no one of myself behind. No black spot, no carbon bomb. There is time after what comes after. And this is my last. Midnight with a new moon. Apparently tonight there will be a new moon, so it's fitting. What do I know about being Black? But my mother's hand and mine. But my sister's back in her white wedding dress, her newly widowed face and her new white hair. But my brother's Black boy feet running against the NES power pad, didn't know it was chasing him. I knew it meant Dad would visit and the boys would be boys. The fingers narrow escape from the fire, crackers mommy in the night with fireflies I caught. My Black meant country club kids got out of the pool and I didn't notice until years later. But what do I know? May as well be white, except my grandmother washed white women's floors and was common poor, except, shawty, what your name is? And you talk white, you stuck-up bitch. But what do I know about Black? But my obese African-American woman fibroids or the policeman's gun to my face. The Black policewoman saying, But what you really gonna be, college girl? Or a white man who loves me and is noticing my blackness a lot less lately? Or another Black woman trying to check me on any given day in my grown-ass life? Girl, don't. You say, oh, she's basically white. And I know you're worried we can't both exist. In some rooms, you know, even the fact of the conversation is treason. 2. Well bottom. A shadow. Anansi. Hottentot, Berry, Baker, Jackson. Nostrils. Hearted. Cold. Lips. 2 million American prisoners. Baldwin. Lord. Hooks. Morrison. Lungs. Lives matter. Enough for you. Thank you for coming and listening to us. Thank you for gathering in this space. I miss talking to groups of people who like poems. And I am so excited to read for the Poetry Foundation and to read with Katharine, who is sort of the most casually courageous student and who has a sense of what's at stake in writing about the cultures that we come from and writing about family in this honest and like deeply emotional way that doesn't shy away from anger or from, you know, a little bit of research, you know. And I'm really grateful to the Poetry Foundation for inviting me to choose someone that I am excited to watch grow. And also, I'm happy to have read with Beth and the Rhino family. And Eva, you were great. So thanks so much.
Let's give another round of applause to Maya Marshall. Wow, thank you so much. Those were such gorgeous poems. And as Maya was introducing, tonight's final reader is Katharine Flores. Here's a bio. Katharine Flores studies English and environmental science at Loyola University, Chicago. Influenced by her first-generation Filipinx American upbringing, Katharine intends on continuing her studies in English with a concentration in 20th century American literature by authors of color. She aspires to work in academia, bring in BIPOC, LGBTQIA, and immigrant identities into general education. Please welcome to the stage now, Katharine Flores.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Noah. My name is Katharine Flores. I use all pronouns. I'm currently in my hometown of Sacramento, California, and I would like to recognize that this land is originally the homeland of the Miwok Nation. By visual description, I'm a Filipinx American person. I have long, straight black hair, and I'm wearing a white long sleeve blouse that I save for interviews and things that make me nervous. Behind me are 2 white sliding closet doors. I want to thank you all for joining. This is my first poetry reading, and I'm very excited to share with you all. Before I introduce the first poem, I want to give a little warning that my poetry contains violence, profanity, and abuse. So please feel welcome to mute me or do whatever is best for your environment. Okay. This first poem was really inspired by Ruby Ibarra's Us. If you don't know that song, give it a listen when you can. It's very empowering. It's about the heritage of Filipinx women, the strength that is seen in us. And part of it is in Tagalog, which is the Filipino dialect that my parents speak at home. If you don't understand Tagalog, I encourage you to, listen to the sounds with me and join me in feeling. Okay. Walang makakatigil sa mga Pilipinas. walang makakatigil, thousands of years of warriors, rebels, the matriarchs, goddesses of guerrilla warfare, grabbing blonde chick-caked hair to pull a bolo through a neck and a homemade rifle slung across her shoulder, protecting ang mga tao against colonization. It's in our blood. Kami ay refugees, exported human labor, sold to a dick, bought for scrubs, for a child that speaks English, but itong ang ating pamana. In oppression, we resist, built by resilience. We learn to fight from our mothers and we never back down. Kahit gaano kasakit, I shall not be afraid at all. Thank you. Now that we got that first poem over, I feel a little bit more at ease. So I'll take a second, take a breath. Sweet. Okay. This next poem is a new one. I started writing poetry with intent last semester, so in January with Miss Marshall, and this one I wrote much more recently. It's still definitely in the works, like all poems are in the works, but this one's especially in the works. So hopefully, like reading it together, we can breathe into the words and see how they feel. Okay. With a glimpse into my eyes, you'll see I've died in each of my ancestors' lives. My soul fought with them against whites, pouring water over our heads in the name of their God and killing us if we defended the rain that watered our trees and nourished our children. My soul fought with them against the island where our fathers looked up at Miss Liberty, but she had turned her back on them and turned her back on the vast sea where they came from. Look into my soul where my grandfather was shot, left lying face down in an alley of the slums my father denies he was raised in. I live for them, and I live for me. I live for the descendants that carry my pain and have died with me. They carry power in their eyes, and they've died 1,000 lifetimes. But in life, they are in love with hope, and they carry their soul with an ease we've never known before. Thanks. That one's rough, but this last poem has been in the works for a while now. I wrote it for Miss Marshall's class last semester, and it's about growing up in an Asian American first generation household. And I think these experiences are just all too familiar for people in my community. I want to note that this poem tends to change with the seasons, meaning that it changes based on my perception of growth and healing, knowing that growth and healing are not linear experiences. So sometimes this poem is incredibly guarded, and other times much more vulnerable. So here's the last one. I think I'm happier now. Dad, now I don't choke when I think about your hand around my neck for leaving bits of glass behind after I swept the shattered plate you threw at my head that broke at my feet. When you stand behind me, I only shiver a little, like before my period when you would grab my ass in passing. I only shiver a little, and I don't put my head down when I remember you called me a bitch for not saying Happy Father's Day. Mom, Why am I the only child you've hit? Yes, I am talking to you, just like the child I was when you told me not to speak to you, or knock on your door, or be in your presence, doctor, mother. I found out you misdiagnosed my silence for submission. I'm trying to be happier now because your other daughter might never be, Dad. You abandoned her the moment she first cried, and I want to be happier now because my big brother needs strength, Mom. You swaddled him until he tried to suffocate himself, and I think I'll pretend I'm happier now because my baby brother needs hope, Dad. You swung him down so fast, I'm scared his heart fell out. Okay, that's over. I want to thank you all for joining us in the audience. I'm really thankful for you all. I want to thank the Poetry Foundation for having me. This is an amazing opportunity. I would have never, ever anticipated for myself. I'm extremely underqualified to be here tonight. So I want to thank you all for listening to my work for the first time. And I want to especially thank Miss Marshall for believing in me, for seeing potential in me, and for being so overwhelmingly supportive that it almost breaks my heart. So thank you all again. I hope you have a great night.
Thank you so much, Katharine, and thank you to all of tonight's readers, Beth, Eva, Maya, and Katharine. Let's all take a moment to give everyone some virtual claps and or virtual snaps for such amazing readings. You all are so generous, and your work is illuminating and important in this time where we are walking through a lot of tough things. So thank you all for being here. I want to also thank everyone out there watching tonight's event. I'm wishing you all a holiday season and a new year full of happiness and light and poetry.
Thank you again so much for coming. Happy holidays and have a great night.